back to my channel. Today we're gonna go through something we should have done many months ago, about 6 months ago. Go through everything everything that we recommend towards helping you either plan or book or just get yourself into Bali and just go have the best time ever. So we're just going to talk and walk you through. We have some actual questions to direct this conversation because I feel like yeah. So we're just going to talk and walk you through everything that we did, and I hope that it helps. To be honest, it's nowhere near as scary or as intimidating as it seems for a lot of people. I mean, when we started, we were like, great, we've now decided that we're going to do it. Where do we start? That was back in what, November 2021. You guys don't know, we went to Bali with Ashton, so we went as a little trio, and thank God we did, because he's far more organised than you and me. Once you have your flights booked, everything else kind of falls into place.
It has to, doesn't it?
It has to, because you have no choice but to make it fall into place. Okay, first question. Did we book everything ourselves, and how do you know if people are trustworthy or websites are safe if you didn't? So
that's quite easy for us, isn't it? We used websites that you can trust. Use Hostel World, Airbnb,
ones that
Booking.com.
have credentials already. Like we didn't book on anything, a website that we'd never heard of before. We want to do this, how do we go about doing this? Okay, so Komodo Island is a good example. That's probably the only external thing that we really booked. Like an external company that wasn't based, like that was through a website and not through someone that we met in Bali. And I basically said, like, I'm really thinking about doing Komodo Island. There was a couple of girls that I had met in London, and they were really like saying, like, you need to go to Komodo Island, like it's gonna be so worth it, like spend the money and do it. And I'm so glad that we did. Are you? I'm so glad that we did. And long story short, I put on my Instagram story and I was just like, how do we book Komodo Island?
One please, one ticket please.
So the place that we recommend to use is Pirates Explorer. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, you'll have to...
What we'll do is in the description of this video, I'll leave everything linked with like direct description, so you know what each link is for.
So many similar ones.
Yeah, so we did use like the Pirate Explorer, that one. That came recommended from the girls from London. So I use word of mouth, but I would really recommend using that if you're thinking about booking Komodo Island. You just have to have your wits about you, like the same way that you see clothes advertised on Instagram. Sometimes it looks like a little bit of a dodgy company. You just have to have your wits about you and be alert. And I recommend booking as much as you can on a credit card, only if you can afford it. But book as much as you can on a credit card, because you have that extra level of protection. Like if something did go wrong, the credit card company will refund you your money. So we actually booked most things on credit card as well, didn't we? Just for peace of mind. Yeah. I'd really recommend as well, if you're not a hostel person like me, recommend going onto Hostel World and looking at the hostels and seeing what private rooms you can get. We'd often, because there was 3 of us, we'd often book rooms for 4 people so that we could have a private room, because that was still way cheaper than getting like a couple of hotel rooms or even just like one hotel room sometimes. And the hostels in Bali, because the competition is so high, because tourism is so hot there, the hostels are lovely, like really nice. And I really, like you guys saw when I went to Vietnam last year, I'm not a hostel girl. If you're booking anything, try to book something that's atoll protected as well. Okay, how did you sort out transport, like to and from the airport and in different areas?
For transport, you can just get Grabs or Gojeks, which are Balinese equivalent of, or Indonesian equivalent of Uber. It's the same as Uber, and you can order food and stuff on there, but you can get picked up on either a car or a moped. And again, where like Uber, where it's done for a third party, you're a bit more like protected. And when you go to the airport as well, like you just landed here and you don't know where you are, there's actually a Gojek or Grab. There's like a hot hub there, so you can walk into there. And
it's not even like a kiosk; it's like a proper little shop.
It's like waiting in a fancy taxi restaurant then, and then you can all order one, and then you know how much it's going to be and where you're going.
And I feel like it just makes you feel a little bit safer, because you're sitting in a building waiting for your taxi to come, and it's kind of organised by people who are working in the building. But it's Grab is what we use mostly. When you come out of the airport in Denpasar, you want to walk past and just ignore or politely decline all of the taxi men who are going to be waiting for you, trying to give you a lift. Get past them, and it's not like India, it doesn't feel dangerous, like it's totally safe, I feel, in Bali. But get past them and then cross the road, and then you'll be in the little Grab shop. Like you'll see it, it's literally got like green plastered logo everywhere, so you'll see it. And then alternatively, you can just use the app, and I think that's really easy. We did that a lot, but we also hired bikes for Bali. So that was our route for getting around. I think we paid like
We were there for a lot longer, weren't
We were there for 2 months and we wanted bikes for 6 weeks, I think. We paid about £120 each for the bike and we just used that across the 6 weeks that we had them, and it was so good.
Taxis and moped taxis are so cheap, it doesn't...
So cheap, like 80p for like a 5 minute...
Yeah.
And when you're hopping on a 5 minute ride and you're hopping on the back of someone else's Gojek, like, it's so bloody cheap, so you'll be absolutely fine. I think transport's probably one of the easiest things about Bali, and because the country's so small, it's cheap because you're actually not travelling very far very often, and when you're going from like destination to destination, maximum, on average, you're typically travelling like an hour. So how do we find accommodation, and did we do hostels or hotels or a mixture? So we already kind of said about the hostels, but we did do a mixture of everything.
Just literally keep an eye out for deals, because where tourism's so popular, there's such a fast turnover that some random days they just have like this one hotel room free or whatever. So just...
Not for free.
For free, but free
available
to rent.
To rent. Not rent, book.
Yeah, so just keep an eye across all three. We'd quite often be on the beach and like be like, oh right, we're leaving in 2 days, let's plan the next week, and you just have a look and have a feel and see what places come up.
My favourite thing to do is try to find places that have just been built, because places that have just been built are desperate to get reviews, and good reviews at that. So their like prices are so much cheaper than what you'd expect them to be. So we have stayed, so we actually did total variety. We stayed in everything from like a £5 a night per person hostel, shared room, shared bathroom, to a £1,200 Airbnb for 4 days for 4 people. And so we did that and everything in between, and I'm telling you now, do not waste your money going for the really expensive glamorous ones. Like, yes, it is nice if you're planning to like spend most of your time there or at the pool or whatever, but where there are so many Airbnbs and like accommodations like popping up over the whole of Bali, with like especially in Canggu, we found that we actually preferred our stay in Canggu when we moved to the cheaper place. How did you choose which places to visit and what to do there? So we've been before. That was actually your 3rd time in Bali.
I feel like that would go with anywhere. Even if you were just going to London for the day or Manchester for the day, you'd have like things you definitely want to go and see, and then just have a look on a map and do it on Google Maps, and you can see, oh, that's an hour away from there, that's 2 hours away from there. How long do I want to spend travelling? What do I actually want to see?
Oh, do you mean from going from like location to location?
Yeah. That's how you work out.
That's how we ended up in Ahmed, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how we divvied up. That's why we ended up going back on ourselves as well, because we were like, oh, we don't want to miss out on other bits, so we'll stay here for 3 days, go somewhere else. And then it got to the end of the trip and we were like, oh, we've got some extra days, why don't we go back to some places that we really liked? So rather that way around than run out of. What
we'll do is we'll write down below like our top 10 places in order of where to visit if you are a first time Bali.
I don't even know if there is 10 places, is there?
Probably not, that's probably everywhere that we went. But we'll still do it. We'll write down everywhere we went in order of recommendation. And I'm guessing that everyone that is watching this has probably not been to Bali before, because if you've been to Bali before, you probably wouldn't have the same questions that we're answering in these videos. So we'll write it as if you've never been before. And oh my god, I'm actually just getting really excited. I miss it so much. George texted me today. My friend George is in Bali right now, and she was like, please can we do a girls trip to Bali next year?
I'm not a girl.
I know, that's not a bad idea, is it? If I went to Bali for like 10 days, I have to get a dog sitter.
Rinsing it, mate. Might as well get a residency.
I love it. I'm so excited for everybody going. It's honestly so fucking good. Like, it's just, you just feel amazing. You know when they say you find yourself when you're travelling? Let me tell you, that did not happen when I went to Vietnam and Thailand. When I went to Bali though, I lost myself and then I found myself in a ditch and then picked myself back and pulled myself up and, you know, brought the pieces all back together. I just felt like I had like a spiritual awakening when I was in Bali.
Too much bintang.
Yeah, Harry did a very different type of Bali to me, even though we went together and went up to all the same places. Are you right? Okay, we're gonna get through this. How easy was it to communicate with locals? Did you feel welcome as a tourist? Yeah. Oh my god, the Balinese people are just the loveliest people in the world.
Tourism's a massive thing for them, tourism's quite good for them.
They really appreciate tourists because it's tourists which have helped provide so many people with so many jobs before COVID, and it's tourism which is enabling them to rebuild the country after COVID. And I know, like, I don't really need to say this, but be a polite tourist, be a good tourist, you know, make an effort to like learn a bit of their language, you know, just the like hellos and the thank yous. I think thank yous and pleases are the best thing to learn. Okay, top 10 places to go. Top 5 must do's, but that's more like SIM card, taxi.
For another one then.
Get a SIM card. We just literally, you probably could have done it cheaper. We just picked ours up at the airport for convenience. So definitely just get a SIM card. I got mine in the airport literally when we arrived, like on our way to the Gojek grab counter thing. You can get so many different like levels of SIM card, like different gigabytes, like different packages, the same way you do in the UK. And I would just recommend getting one with the best data package. Okay, money. So with money, we did money a little bit differently. Henry had like a budget, and I think it was for the 2 months like £3,000 or something like that. Bear in mind that was including like Komodo Island, staying at some nice villas, obviously eating out every single day. If you're going for a month, I would say minimum £750 to £1,000. Like, you can do it much cheaper than that, but I think if you're going to like travel and to really enjoy yourself and not be stressed about money while you're there, then that's the kind of bracket that I would recommend. I say this, but I think Sarah came out, she was out for 2 weeks, and she spent, I think, like 300 or 400 in the 2 weeks, so she did not spend that much money at all. Had another friend that came out and she spent about £1,000 in 2 weeks. It's just because people just spend their money differently, and what is like a value to them is different value to you. So what the good thing about Bali is, you can get money out of cash machines, like at cash points. We all have Monzos, so we use Monzo. They're really good for like splitting across groups as well, because you can just do like a bill split. There's also Revolut and Sterling, which are great international cards, and they basically give you the best rate that you can get, like exchange rate, on that day, on the time of purchase. So the must do and like must see places. I love Canggu, but you guys know I love London, and I would say it's like the Balinese version of London. It's got beautiful beaches, it's super busy, super vibey, like it's just so fun. It's got a proper little like buzz around, and everyone that's been to Bali will tell you, well, you've got to, you know, experience Canggu. If you're not even that kind of person that likes the buzzy busyness, you still got to experience it, right? Now that we've done a Bud a couple of times, and I've seen quite a big difference between the first time we went in 2020 versus 2023. It's really busy, but then like just traffic busy, whereas Canggu's busy because there's so many people. I don't know, like the monkey forest was good. It's a really good place to go if you're not there for a really long period of time, because it's in this almost in the centre, but it's not far from the airport, but it's almost in the centre of the country. So if you're looking to do like Mount Batur or some like cooking classes or a yoga retreat, like it's a great spot to locate yourself, to go off and do these other things and then come back to your like villa or apartment or hostel in the evening. Uluwatu, I think is my favourite. I know I just said that about Canggu. Oh, I love them both so much, I can't decide. But Uluwatu is so good. The real surfers go, like, not me, but people who have experience in surfing. And it's honestly just a really nice, like, environment. Uluwatu Temple, which you should definitely go to. And, like, Crystal Beach. Oh my god, Diamond Beach. These beaches, just so beautiful. So we went to Nusa Penida twice. We went the first time we went and the second. It's so good. We love Nusa Penida. It's just a tiny little island. They have motors, so you can go around on like in a taxi, or you can go on a scooter. You can go to Kling Kling Beach. You know the one that's shaped like a dinosaur? That's there. I actually have a taxi guy that I can recommend to you guys. I'm just writing down notes as we go along so I don't forget to like leave anything out. Nusa Penida, Cheyna. His name's Cheyna, and he was our taxi guy. Or was he like our tour guide the first time we went? I think he was our tour guide the first time we went. It was oh my god, you must have seen the pictures and videos of the tour guys in Bali taking the photos, like getting the angles. Like he was doing the most, but he was actually just a really, really nice guy. And so the second time we went, we used him again, but not as a tour guide, as for taxi service. And yeah, he was wicked. I loved Gilli T. We didn't manage to go there the first time we went because that's when COVID hit and we had to fly back. But we did it properly this time. We were there for like 4 or 5 days, and I loved it so much. When I look back on the pictures, it just makes me so emotional, like so happy. Gilli T is just so fun. It's an island, and it's like the party island of Bali, but it's, oh, Billy, but it's an island where they have no motors, everything's on a horse and carriage or foot. I would recommend just planning to do everything by foot. We were advised not to go to the west, and I think it's because it's still very traditional, and I think the locals want to protect the west from the tourists, so just respect it and just don't go. If going for 2 weeks, wanting to see as much as you can, where do you recommend staying? So I would stay Canggu, Ubud, Uluwatu, and try to do Gilli T, and also Nusa Penida. That's what we planned to do in 3 weeks when we went, and then we did stay in a couple of other places, but that was cut short the first time we went to Bali. Need some recommendations and boat tour for Gili. I honestly cannot recommend anyone for travelling to Gili because it's exactly what you think. It's going to be a full day of travelling. You'll get there for dinner time even if you leave at 9 AM. The boats, it's a shit show. The boats are always running late. Don't travel hungover. I'm telling you now, you will regret it so much. The boats are so rocky. Our boat actually broke down. It was 4 hours late and then it broke down in the morning on our way to Gilli T, on our way to the island. The boat home was lovely, it was so chill, but going to the island is just so difficult. So just prepare yourself for the worst. Don't buy your tickets at the harbour, make sure you buy them online. Try to find someone that's atoll protected or at least recommended from someone else. The best way to get recommendations from people if you don't know people like personally or at home is just to ask people in Bali. Like when you're sitting in a restaurant and you overhear someone English speaking, like just ask them. Everyone's so friendly, even the tourists, everyone's there to have a good time, and 9 times out of 10 people are happy to help, so just literally just ask people around you. Someone has said, I want to go backpacking solo to Indonesia next year, but I'm 30, will I be too old for solo travel? Absolutely bloody not. I've only just started solo travelling, what, at the age of 26 did I start? I started last year, was that 25? I thought to myself, I'm too old to start as well. And can you imagine me, 30-year-old me, looking back on 25-year-old me, being like, you thought you were too old to start solo travelling? That's ridiculous. There is no age in it. I know people who solo travel at 45, at 50, at 60. My dad solo travels sometimes and he's like really old. And what's lovely is, especially in Bali, you will meet people who solo travel from all walks of life and all ages as well, so you won't feel like, oh my god, I'm the oldest in the room. But do just be wary of like the hostels that you're booking. You don't want to constantly book the party hostels because you most likely will just bump into like 18 to 21-year-olds. I really love that you're looking to solo travel now as well. It's honestly one of the best things I've ever done. A lot of people are asking about solo travel in Bali, and it's honestly one of the most chilled out places to solo travel. Semi-Bali related, as you mentioned it on there, but how did you do your vision board? I made my vision board on Canva, but this year I actually want to like print stuff off and have an in-person vision board, because I made it on camera, it was my screensaver for like the first 5 months of the year, and then I changed it, and then I never really like looked at it again. And there are definitely stuff on my vision board that I could have made come true if I was just looking at it more, like I wasn't, so I'm gonna have a physical one instead. But Canva's a really good one. And then most of the other questions are about whether you can travel there with children. You absolutely can. I saw so many families in Bali. Someone actually said that they didn't love Bali and they thought that they would. It just seemed really touristy and expensive compared to the rest of Asia. Now it is more touristy because it is a more popular destination, but that really depends on where you go within Bali as well, so it is important to do your research. And if you guys and check the list that I'm putting down below, because I'm going to make sure I include those destinations that are really nice, very wholesome, very what you would want if you were planning a truck trip to Bali, not to just be stuck in like the London version of the Bali version of London 24/7. So many of you guys are going for your honeymoon. This is so sweet. A lot of people are asking about budgets per day, and I think we budgeted for like food and accommodation about £20 per day, and that saw us almost the whole way through. But there were times when we spent a little bit less and we spent a little bit more. Oopsie, my camera died. So second last question is, I want to go to Bali, but I want to go in a big group, or I want to go to Bali, but I want to do it with a group of people and I don't have friends to go with. How can I go about doing this? Go on our homies Facebook page and just throw the question out there. Ask people whether they're in your local area, or just maybe I'll make like a travel chat for people who want to solo travel, and you can build like a little group chat off the back of that, and you know, hopefully find some people that want to go. Or alternatively, the Gals Who Facebook page, they actually arrange like group trips to Bali with TUI. We are going to be working with TUI in 2024, but we're not going to be doing Bali in Indonesia.
we are actually going to be looking at more European based places. And then the last question, I quickly caught it just before the camera died, was about what we struggled with and what we found hardest. Now I think what we found hardest between me and Henry is probably a little bit different, but what I struggled with about Bali, and I think it kind of goes for wherever I could have been in the world at that point in time, was not planning what I wanted to do in certain places, because I'd wake up in the morning, and whilst it was good to do this for some days or some weeks, there were times when I'd wake up in the morning and be like, okay, so what are we doing today? And I needed that sense of direction, and I wasn't organising myself enough to have it. But equally, the days where I didn't want a sense of direction and I just wanted to go with the flow and lay on the beach all day and then go out for dinner and just really relax, I loved it. So just pay attention. This is just, I guess, a piece of advice for solo traveling wherever you're going, or I guess traveling in a group as well, just traveling in general, is have that bank on your phone of all these different things that you want to do, and then the details of how to book it, where to go, and try to do as much of that as you can before you go. Not booking, just try to do as much of the research before you go, so that when you're there, you even know what kind of questions to ask people, because you just go up to someone and you say, oh, I'm in Bali for 2 weeks and I don't really know what to do. Do you have any recommendations? We don't know where to start because I don't know what you're into, I don't know what your hobbies are, I don't know what kind of things you're looking to do. So even by doing a bit of research here, even if you come out with not knowing anything that you're going to be doing in Bali, at least you have more of a sense of direction of what kind of things and what kind of excursions you can do. Something that I struggled with traveling, and now that I've been diagnosed with ADHD, I totally understand why, but it was just feeling really overwhelmed in unpredictable situations. And because I'm gluten-free, I did struggle with wanting to cook at home, because the supermarkets are actually really expensive. When we would eat out, it was really easy, and I'd always just go for the rice bakes instead of noodles, and then I could pretty much eat in every local place, and all the chains were pretty good. Most places accommodated to gluten-free when you're in busier areas, and the places that didn't, it was difficult, but it wasn't the end of the world. I would just bring some protein snacks with you, because that's the stuff that's actually going to keep you fuller for longer and help you get through the day when you can't just run into Sainsbury's and buy a chocolate bar. So I'd actually really recommend packing some protein bars. And getting laundry done, we would literally just walk up to the closest little laundrettes, maybe find one on Google, and go by recommendation, and just get our laundry done there. It was always £2.50 per kg, so it was really cheap. And sometimes we did get caught out where we definitely just paid someone to truck some water over our clothes and then dry press them. So just have that stuff in mind, but it is really easy to get laundry done, and you can get it done properly. You just have to have your wits about you. I think that's the main thing with travel, whether it's solo travel or traveling in a group. You do just need to be switched on and just go there with an open mind. You're gonna have a good time, try new things, try new food, and just embrace it, enjoy it, make the most of it. All right, loves, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.